Okay, so what happens when a Section 7 report is ordered? When you first make an application to the court, CAFCASS will conduct a safeguarding report. It's sometimes called a Schedule 2 letter, but a welfare report, a Section 7 report, is something different. These welfare reports are ordered when the courts think there's a welfare concern. That said, I have known judges and magistrates to say there are no welfare concerns, but I'm ordering a Section 7 report. Go figure. The whole point of these reports is to let the court find out what's going on outside the courtroom. CAFCASS often described as the eyes and ears of the court, actually outside the courtroom. And when they're ordered to do a report, they're going to speak to various people, they're going to make recommendations, and the court will look at those and then it will decide whether it's going to follow those recommendations or not. If you've previously had social services involvement, chances are that social services are going to do the report. They'll do the same reports, it'll be pretty much the same sort of format. It will just be social services doing it instead of CAFCASS. But no, I've got to tell you, CAFCASS and social services are both overrun. So they're quite keen for each other to do the report. So don't be that surprised if you've had social services involvement and CAFCASS still does it. It all depends down to what the court thinks, and if social services or CAFCASS can persuade the court to get the other side to do it. When the report's ordered, it's usually going to take about 14 weeks. Now, CAFCASS in England is a different entity to CAFCASS in Wales, CAFCASS Cymru. They do have differences. They report back to different bosses. So in Wales, it's the Welsh government have got more oversight of it than in England. But it's around about 14 weeks, but it can vary around the country. So when that happens, they'll do like checks. They'll do police checks. They'll check with social service records, see if you're known to social services. They'll speak to schools, all those sort of people, just so they can get some factual information about the history of the situation regarding what's going on. They will speak to both parents. Typically, they'll phone both parents. There might be emails, and they'll ask each parent how they see it, what they want, that sort of thing. Now, in my experience, they tend to visit the primary carer first. So if the children are in your care, they will speak to you first, but that's not a hard and fast rule. Regardless of whether you're the primary care or not, they tend to leave speaking to parents and visiting parents towards the end of the round about 14 weeks. Once they've done all the police checks and social service checks, it makes sense, because that way they can raise those sort of things with you once they've found them out. Now, they should be doing a home visit. They should be visiting your home to see where your children stay, the sort of home environment you've got. Now, this is a subject for another TikTok, which I'll do in the next few days. What you can do to help get a good CAFCASS report, or sorry, Section 7 report, can be CAFCASS, can be social services, I've just said. Now, they should visit both parents. If a report is compiled without them doing so, or without them speaking to both parents, the limit of the validity and the usefulness of the report is limited. And if you're a parent and CAFCASS social services have not visited you for the Section 7 report, they've not spoken to you, and they put together a report, then no, it gives you quite a reasonable good grounds to challenge any recommendations if you don't agree with them. How can they make a report without speaking to someone or without visiting someone? That's something to bear in mind, but they usually do. Once a report's filed, once a report's with the court, normally a week or two before the hearing is scheduled to take place, what will happen next is you'll go to court and you'll be given an opportunity to say whether you agree with the recommendations or you don't. If you do agree with the recommendations, the court can finalise the recommendations into an order, and that will be the last hearing in your case. If you don't agree, and you don't have to, the court will schedule a subsequent hearing. It can be a final hearing usually, and then you'll get a chance to cross-examine the author of the report if you've got a hearing that's trial by not submissions. But look, this is complicated. This is something I'm going to do with another hearing, because if you represent yourself, chances are it's going to be dealt with by submissions, and you're not going to get a chance to cross-examine the author of the report. If you've got a solicitor, you most definitely will. Now, I know whenever you speak to people, they will say things like, oh, I've got a bad CAFCASS report, there's absolutely nothing I can do. Now, CAFCASS social service reports are often followed. The recommendations are often followed, but that's not black and white. I've known quite a few cases where the recommendations have been challenged and successfully overturned or modified, and you've got all to play for until the final order is made. So if you are in a situation, you've got a report that you're not happy with, there are lots of things you can do, and be aware that just because the report isn't how you feel in the best interest of your child, that doesn't mean it's automatically going to be ordered. I hope this helps.